Hey yo, hey. What's up, everybody? Greg here again. Doing a double session today. Yeah. So this one I'm running. You guys are actually home. Uh, so some of you still have to do the SHSAT. We're up to about part number 7 here. If case there's no technical errors, I need to get out of here. Hopefully this is the last part of the Form A math. And then we'll flip into deciding whether to do what are the other sections are. I am probably going to do the grade 9 examples next, and then we can come full circle around to maybe the Form B math. There's also all the ELA, and there's extra grid-in problems at the end of the handbook. So from that point, we can decide from there as well. Probably going to do the grade 9, then the extra grid-ins, and then go back and do the Form B math, and then maybe cherry pick English examples from the ELA part. Maybe do all the revising and editing, and then cherry pick reading comprehension ones. Because there's a few passages in there that my students have had problems with. I think there was the Mark Twain one that a lot of kids either don't like or / get confused. There is the one with the Wright brothers, I think. Those two. Um, uh, Students seem to have done particularly well with the poems, although they're not picture perfect either. All right, so I'm looking at myself here, and I'm out of focus. So let me make sure my mic is working for starters. Okay, the mic seems good. We have a good connection. Hey, howdy, everybody. So we're going to jump into the math right here. Let me shift the page over. I'm Greg from GregsTutoringNYC at gmail.com. My email is at the bottom in light gray if anybody wants to contact me for questions or for getting tutoring. Kind of a bit late to get tutoring for this year, but I do single sessions even if you guys need that. Plus, I'm prepping for next year for anybody who is in a lower grade who needs to, wants to start pumping up the volume on this. Let's get going. Hey ho, let's go, right? And anybody who just has a specific topic they're not keen on, or they just want to bump up their A game to make it an A+ game, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. Um, and then you got a year. There's people who want to prep for a year and really kick butt here. Let's do that too. All right. So let me make sure I'm okay here. Let me put a squiggle here just to make sure my pen is alive. Yeah, it is. Okay, so our illustration has 10/13ths, and please subscribe. I'm going to be pumping out more of these into perpetuity. This channel's up for a number of years, and there's already hundreds of hours and hundreds of videos pertaining to the SHSAT and other related exams, especially for high school admissions. I do cover other topics on lower grades and also on upper grades. Okay, so all right, let's jump in here. We have 10/13ths equals 0.769230 bar, which means that barred area is going to repeat itself right after itself. So we're going to have 0.769230, 769,230, 769,230. So if you don't know what that means, you gotta get a bunch of ors. You need me, right? So that's called a repeating decimal, and we don't know what else is going on here. Okay, so let's flip into the words now. We're done with the illustration. In the infinite repeating decimal above, okay, so it confirms what I just said. 7 is the first digit, right there. There he is, of the repeating pattern. Okay, we can see that because it's 769,230. Those 6 digits, right? The 6 digits here, if you count them, 2, the 9 is the third, the 2 is the fourth, the 3 is the fifth, and the 0 is the sixth. Okay, so the 6 digits in that repeating thing. So those 6 digits are going to keep repeating. It's telling us 7 is the first digit. What is the 391st digit? Okay, so this is a classic, I keep saying stuff like this, but this is another classic on many standardized tests, as well as patterns in your algebra classes. It might even be in the New York State test. and other things like that. It's definitely a likely question for the SHSAT. All right, so the classic resolution is to just divide the number of digits in the pattern, in this case it's going to be the 6, into the 391, which is the total number of digits. Okay, it just becomes an arithmetic question at that point, right? That's true of a lot of stuff for the SHSAT. It's a giantly arithmetic-based test where we might have a word problem or something. Even the geometry always flips us back into doing the arithmetic. Okay, 6 goes into 3, it does not happen. 6 goes into 39, 6 times. Okay, and we get a remainder of 3. Okay, 6 goes into 31, 5 times. And we get a remainder of 1. So we can just put our 1 there. Okay, let's double check that to make sure that there really is a remainder of 1. So we're going to do 65. And we're going to multiply that by 6. We're going to do the inverse operation just to make sure that we did something intelligent. And because this so much depends on that, we really do want to write this down. We can do that division and this multiplication on our heads. We actually really do want to write it down. Okay, just to do that confirmation. There's nothing else going on in this problem. Okay, so 6 times 5 is 30. Carry our 3. And 6 times 6 is 36. And that gives us 39. Okay, so that's the difference. We get off by 1. By the way, I'm going to start using this kind of script mechanism because of the thing here. I noticed that once the software, the tablet software catches the pen is active, it keeps going and it gets the curvatures and so on. So it's the starting up. So I can do something like this. Really with no problem whatsoever. It's just that it doesn't detect when it's starting. So once I'm on a roll, so I'm going to try to start using my digits more in a script fashion here from now on. So we have 1 left over. So that means that we've used up 769,230 390 times. So there's 1 more digit that we need to do the pattern. And that digit is going to be the first digit of the pattern. So that means the answer has to be 7 as the first digit. Okay? Right, 105 is D. And by the way, it turned out that the 10/13 itself was a little distraction to us. It didn't really matter that this was 10/13. That had nothing to do with the problem. Okay, what mattered is that it was 0.7692 to 0 bar. Okay, the bar was what the clincher was here. All right, so that's D. Okay, and we had a way to double check that as well. Okay, 106 is a car travels at 440 feet per minute. So that seems like it might be important at some point. The radius of each tire on the car is 1 foot. So we have a circle with a radius of 1 foot. I'm actually going to stop right there because somehow that seems significant. Let's just draw it. So we're going to have a circle. With the radius that's going to be 1. Okay. Most likely, almost immediately, it should pop into your head, oh, we probably want to get the circumference because they're probably going to ask us for the number of revolutions in something happening here or something along those lines like that. So circumference is equal to 2 pi r. okay, or 2D. In this case, there's no D involved. How many revolutions does one of these tires take in 1 minute? And they're telling us that we're allowed to use 22/7 for pi, okay? So what we need to do is kind of backtrack through here and get the circumference. So if r is 1, then the circumference is 2 pi, okay? That is the perimeter of the tire, right? Circumference is another word for perimeter of a circle. So if the car is going to go 4,400 feet, what we basically want to do is unravel the circle to be a line and just keep putting it on end and going down 4,400 feet. So what it means is we're going to take 4,400 which is the total number of feet here, right? And by the way, that's feet, so we're going to check our units. That's feet there, and this is feet here. So this is 2 pi feet. So we don't have to do any conversion for that. Now, I'm looking at the answers, and none of them involves like 3.14 or any decimal whatsoever. So that's interesting. So let's just keep going with the problem. So we have 4,400 feet. That's the total number of feet. And we're going to divide it by the circumference, which is the perimeter of the circle, to get the number of times the number of perimeters we have, the number of circumferences that we have. So we can divide that by 2 pi. Okay, there's a couple things we can do at this point. Okay, one is I'm going to get rid of the 2. And that becomes 2,200. So now I've changed the problem to be 2,200 over pi. Okay, and they're telling us that we can replace pi with 22/7. So let's do that. Okay, so what we have is a number. We've seen this a number of times. The green, the 2,200 divided by a fraction. Division by a fraction is the same as multiplication by its reciprocal. So we're going to have 2,200. Writing that weird. Divided by, or sorry, times 7/22. The 22 down here is going to cancel into that. And so the numerator over here becomes 100. And then it's 100 times 7, which is 700. And the problem worked its way out. So we can see that even though we had pi involved, we had a circle involved, all this other stuff, we still just get a nice clean number. Of course, in the real world, pi is not 22/7, but we're using an estimation here. Okay, give me one more second. Let's just make sure we're live. All right, I see some people in the lobby. Yo, please like. What's going on? How could you not like this? That's 106, 107. We're going to go about an hour here. We're going to try to shoot to get to 114 so that we can finally be done with the multiple choice parts here. Okay, 108 is a classic word problem involving probability. So we're going to get a standard. We're just going to list out the items. And we list them. I like to list them up and down. So we have 4 blue. So this becomes an annoying bookkeeping problem. I'm noticing this example. There's actually a whole bunch. So I'm just going to put B. If there was black, I might actually write the words black and blue. 5 red. What do you have? 8 yellow. Uh, 9 white. So they're really annoying us here. They're complicating the problem just by making it a bookkeeping scenario where we have to keep track of all these. And then Fonny 11 green. Okay, so just to make sure I didn't make a mistake, especially since I have dyslexia, I'm just going to run through all those again. 4 blue, 5 red, 8 yellow, 9 white, 11 green. So you have 20, 32, I believe 37. So I'm going to write that down and then count them up again a different way to make sure that my total is actually the correct total. Let's see, 9, 16, 17, 26, 36. Yep, I'm getting 37 again. So we're up to here so far. If one ball is picked from the container at random, one ball, what is the probability that it will be yellow? So the probability is going to be the yellow over the total. So in this case, it would be 8 over the 37. Okay, so just be G. So this strictly became a bookkeeping problem. The social chancy part, the probability part of this, is really not too bad. And it's bing, bang, boom. The hardest thing here was writing out this list and adding up to 37. All right, so we like problems like this. It's not tricky at all. Remember again, the problem with the hard problems are hard, the problem with the easy problems are the easy. Just make sure you're reading the problem right. There can be a twist to this. In this case, there was no twist. It is what it is. It is what it was. It was what it was. I got a question here. I took my test Sunday. Thanks so much for the videos. I felt very confident on the test because in the days, week leading up to the test, I binge watched the videos. Yeah, that's the way to do it, bro. Let's get a thumbs up. There's a few people in the lobby now. Let's thumbs up it. Yeah, come on. Let's do this, people. All right, that's what I want to hear. All right. What I like to think there's a top level premise of doing all these videos. And the top level premise is just the sheer joy of learning. Just come on here, relax, enjoy yourself, learn something, eat a cookie, go home, stay home, go to sleep, whatever you want to do, and live happily ever after. And hey, by the way, if you learn and you're enjoying this, why not take a test involving it? And that test in this video happens to be the SHSAT. Boo-yah! Let's do this, people. Okay? What's important too is I'm always cool, calm, and relaxed. And that's the way you need to approach this stuff. Just make believe these are solving puzzles all day, and then there's nothing else to worry about. You're focusing on the actual math or the ELA or test-taking strategies or numeracy or pacing yourself or just learning a new topic, and just do it for the sheer joy of the sheer joy. Okay? and then just bump it up to the next level. Bump up the volume. Yeah, let's do this, right? I like this guy. This guy's my best fan, okay? Yet he didn't like the video. Use the approximation 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. So we got 2.54 is an inch. So there's a ratio there. We don't know where they're going here, so we're going to stop there at the comma. And we'll put the units in here. Uh, 2.5 centimeters to 1 inch. Okay, how many centimeters are in 4 feet 7 inches? Okay, so we have to do a conversion from feet and inches to inches, because what we basically want is they're asking us how many cms, XCMs, to the 4 feet 7 inches. I'm just going to write 4 feet 7 inches. Okay, so we have things lined up. 4 feet 7 inches is not in inches, so we need to do a conversion. 4 feet is what? 4 times 12 is 48. So there's 48 inches there. Okay, plus 7 inches is gonna give us 55. So we have 2.54 is to 1 as x is to 55. We run our cross product and we get x equals 2.54 times the 55. So we actually have to do that multiplication. And when we do so, and I'll do this one on the screen, normally I don't, but we're on a roll today. Actually, there's kind of a slight loophole in this example that lets us find the answer straight up. 5 times 4 is 20. Let's get the answer first. We carried the 2. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 2 is 27. So that's 7. We carry this 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus that is 12. So we get 1270 here. Okay, if we did that right, we should just be able to write the 1270 again, shift it over. But let's double check it. 5 times 4 is 20, so we get a 0 here. We're going to carry the 2 again. 5 times 5 is 25, 27. We write our 7. We carry our 2. 5 times 2 is 10 plus the 12. All right, so we did it right the first time. And now what we have to do is add that up. And then move over 2 decimal places. So we get 0. 7 plus 0 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3. Is this one H? Yes, this one is H. We get that. We move the 2 decimal places over, and we're cool. Okay, there is a shortcut. Let me use the red here for a second again. If we only focus on the 4 and the 5 here, 5 times 4 is to 20. So we know no matter what the answer is, that the last digit here had to have been 0. And there's only one choice where that's true, so it would turn out to be H. Okay? So I wouldn't necessarily suggest this in a 3 by 2 digit multiplication as the only way to guarantee the answer, because this requires that your 55 was right. Okay? So let me say that again. 5 times 4 is 20, so the answer has to end in a 0 on this digit here, on the 100th digit. Okay? The only way that can work is that if the 55 ends in a 5. So your number there needs to be correct. Okay? So it could have turned out that you ended up with 45 instead of 55. And in that case, you still would have gotten a 0 in the final digit there. So don't depend on this technique. Just use it as a partial double check. Okay? And I've mentioned this in many of my videos of how to do that. By the way, this one's nasty again, because how do you feed 139.70 back into it? It's hard to do, okay? And by the way, you could have estimated this. This is about 4.5 feet. It's 2.5 centimeters, right? So even if you did 4, right, you get the 48, that's about 50. And you do 50 times 2.5. Right? You're gonna kind of get numbers like that, all right? Where you're gonna get, so you know you ruled that E and F at least, and you actually finally have to do the computation to get F and G. So there are still ways to do partial double checks where you can completely rule out certain answers just to kind of pseudo verify that your answer's on ball. When you get a question like this where you can't really feed the answer completely back in, get the estimate, try to make pragmatic and practical sense out of it, and then go on to the next step. Okay, what do we have here for 111? All right, this looks like a busy problem, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase the stuff from the previous problem that's showing on the screen right now, which is unfortunate because they have all that white space on the other side there, but it's going to be easier just to do this above here. Okay, so we have a number line, JKLM. We're going to look at the illustration first. Let me get rid of that green dot thing there. Nope, that didn't work. Wait a second. So while I'm doing that, we have a number line. That's our illustration with JKLM. And K is noted to be 3/8. Okay, so let's see what we got here. On the number line, JK is 3.5. So it's telling us, let me get the pencil back here. Where's the pencil? Come on, it's showing just the eraser to me. All right, there we go. That JK, which is just kidding, is 3.5. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I don't know where the problem's going yet, but I'm just going to start filling these in. Okay, and we also know that 3.5 is the same as 4/8, because I'm noticing if K is 3/8, that 4/8 might come into play there. So I'm gonna note that as well. So that's the same as 3 and 4/8. Okay. JM is 9 3/4. Actually, let me change the color of the pen there, just so we can kind of get visible delineations here. What's going on here? Come on, boys. Okay, there we go. So JM which is going to be this whole thing here, is 9 3/4. So that's going to be 9 6/8. Okay, and LM, let's change the color again, is 1 1/8. So that one, they give us an 8 already. So that's from here to here. Okay. What is the point? What is L? So L is here. So they want to know, what is that bugger? Okay. So I think there's a couple ways to solve this problem. So we have the 3 4/8 here. Let me just double check. JK is 3 1/2, which was 3 4/8. JM is 9 3/4, which is 9 6/8, and LM is 1 1/8. What is the position of L? Okay. So does anybody see a way to do that? Seems to me we have to get what point J is first. Okay. So what we can do is get K, which is 3/8. Let me let this catch up for a second. No, it didn't draw the 8. Why did it not draw the 8? So what we're going to do is get K. We're going to subtract from K 3 4/8. So that's going to bring us to J. Okay, now that we're at J, if we're at J, and we know the whole thing is 9 6/8, if we subtract LM from it, what we're going to have is the area there. And if we know that, we can get to where L is. So then what we're going to do is add 9 6/8 to it. And again, there's multiple ways to do this. This is not the only way to do it. And give me 1 second, because my daughter's texting me. She's getting on a plane. She's coming home from Los Angeles. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. And we're going to subtract from that the 1 1/8, if I did this right. Okay, so hopefully I did not put my foot in my mouth here. Let's see, we have 3/8. We're going to back up 3 1/2 to get to J. Okay, from J, we're going to add the whole thing and take off the minus 1 1/8 to get to L. Okay, yeah, I think we did it right. All right, so if we just do these two first, we get 6 2/8. We have minus 3 4/8 plus 9 6/8 gives 3 2/8. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is add the 3/8 to it. So that's going to give us 6 5/8. And then what we're left with is the 6 5/8 minus the 1 1/8. Okay, so that's going to give us 5 4/8, or 5 1/2, which is C. Yep. This I personally find a very hard question, because you have to get that meticulously right. The other way to do this, I said there were other ways to do this, is to actually start figuring out what J is. We know what K is. Figure out actually what M is. Okay, so at that point we'll have J, K, and M, and all we have to do is figure out L based on the other numbers. So what I did, instead of actually saying J is equal to something, in other words, if I was to put this in a box right here, if I actually did 3/8 minus 3 4/8, right now I get what, 2 7/8 minus 2 7/8. That's probably what J is, I believe. Did I do that right? Yeah, I must have. Minus 2 7/8, I believe, is what J is. I could have actually figured those out and then did the computation. So instead of that, I just unnamed it. I kept it unnamed. I just kept going back and forth between the positions to find out where I needed to go. All right, let's make sure we're still live. Yes, we are. We're going to go to 112. We're in hot pursuit of 114 here. This one's kind of an easy peasy, so don't screw this up, guys. This is one of the, just giving you this answer. Don't mess it up. Again, the problem with the hard questions, they're hard. The problem with the easy questions, they're easy. The number of questions you guys get wrong under the guise of so-called silly errors is astronomical. Astronomical. Even my best students, until they're my students, because then they're better, they're getting all these silly errors, and it means your proficiency and mastery and numeracy and all these things are not there, or you wouldn't be making these errors. Your attention to detail, all these kind of things like that. There's no reason to get a question like this wrong. Okay? So what is X in terms of Y? First of all, you have to understand what that means. Well, you should be able to look at all these and just say, they're all saying X equals something. All right? So that's what we want to shoot for. Okay? So if we add 3y to both sides, that goes away, and we get plus 3y. 12 plus 3y. And now we have 4x equals something. So what we have to do is divide both sides by 4. This 4 goes away, and then we have 12 over 4 plus 3y over 4. Well, 12 over 4 is 3. And 3y over 4 is 3y over 4, or 3/4 y. Okay? Which gives us what? Doesn't that give us g? Of course it does. And that one's easy peasy. One and done. Set it and forget it. Guys who are familiar with info commercials should know what that means. Set it and forget it. Okay, so we have what seems to me a longer than normal chart for 113. So it doesn't fit on the screen, so let's just try to, whoops, went too far. If anybody has any general questions too, just stop popping them out. So when I do these last two questions, we can celebrate and just start blabbing. Okay, so the chart is about servings of fruit and vegetables. The first is the number of servings of fruits and vegetables, and the second column is the number of students who did that. So for instance, 3 students had 2 servings of vegetables, right? If we do it there, okay. 5 students had none, and no students had 4 servings, okay. We don't know what to do here. What I often like to do, and sometimes it's a waste of time, is tally this up. So 5 plus, we can do 7 plus 3 and get 10. And then I have 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 1 is 10. So the total of all the students is 20. Sometimes they tell us this. Sometimes they don't. Okay. So when it gets too hard and too tedious, I will not do that total unless I see that I need to do it. Okay. So that's it for the thing. Let me scroll this a bit. Let me do that. Yeah, give me 1 second, so we can see the words and the answer choices, or at least some of the answer choices. So it's servings of fruits and vegetables. All right, so let me leave it like that for now with just A showing, so we can at least get a context and start understanding the words. So there are 20 students in class. We confirmed that, and it's nice for them to tell us that anyway. The frequency table above shows the number of students in the class who ate none, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 servings of fruits and vegetables yesterday. Okay, so I think we're keen on that. What is the mean number of servings of fruits and vegetables eaten yesterday per student in the class? Okay, so let me start scrolling this off. So that column was the students. So what we need to do is figure out how many students were involved. So if no students did this, we don't need to include this one at all. Okay? 7 students had 1 serving, so in total, that is 7 servings. 3 students had 2, so in total, that's 6. 4 had 3, so that's 12. None had 4, so we're not going to include that. And 1 had 5. So now what we need to do is total this column. So we can get 13, 25, 30. Let me do it backwards. 17, 24, 30, right? So the total number of servings is 30. So this just comes down to an average problem. It's 30 over 20, right? It's the number of servings over the number of students. It says how many we eaten per student in this class. So therefore, the answer is A. We don't even need to scroll off to see the others. All right? So just make sure you do those counts right, because there are other choices here that you may end up thinking is the answer. Especially, so look at the strategy there. It's you must do that multiplication for every line and make sure your addition of all the totals are right. We're lucky they said there were 20 students in the class. It could have just said this is the number of servings of some students in the class, and they would have forced you to do the 30 and the 20 computations. Anyway, the clincher was to do the 30 divided by the 20. And finally, we come to the last question. Yeehaw. A paste used to cover a billboard is made by mixing the following ingredients by weight. Whoops. Not too far. Come back. Come back. Ah, the last problem does not want to be solved. So we have what appears to be 4 parts powder, 3 parts water, 2 parts resin, and 1 part hardener. To cover 1 billboard requires 30 pounds of the paste. How many pounds of resin are required to do 4 billboards? Okay, so it seems to me that we have powder is to water is to resin is to hardener. Okay, so they're telling us the ratios that it's, huh? Why did that just go away? Okay, this is freaky. So they're telling us that ratio is 4. The water's 3. The resin's 2. And the hardener is 1. So we're going to have these just to make sure it's clear what I'm really showing you guys here. Okay. And what normally is handy on these is to add up the number of total parts. Let me check again because I may have written the number wrong. 4 parts powder, 3 parts water, 2 parts resin, 1 part hardener. Okay. You have 7, 8, 9, 10. I believe there's 10 parts here. Give it 1 second. This whiteboard is syncing to the internet. And just let me add it up backwards. 1 plus 2 is 3, 6. Yep, it's 10 parts. Okay, it says to cover 1 billboard requires 30 pounds. So it seems to me if it's 30 pounds, that there's a 3 times situation going on here. Because even though this is parts, we could have said that one entity of this is 10 pounds. So it seems to me we're multiplying by 3. We have a 3 times multiplication factor. So then the hardener would be 3. Okay. The resin would be 6. Okay, this would be 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And 4 times 3 would be 12. Okay, so 12 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3 should be 30. So we get 21, 27, 30. I'll do it backwards. 9, 18. Yep, 30. In other words, if we add these, they would equal 30. Because they're equal parts, and then they gave us the ratios. Okay, for some of you, you would answer 114 because they're asking how many pounds of resin. So that's this column here. Okay, so some of you would answer that the answer is E, but we haven't solved the problem. Okay, that's a middle value. If you notice, I now accommodated for the 30 pounds. I accommodated for the resin, which I underlined, but I haven't accommodated for the 4 billboards. This said 1 billboard required 30 pounds. So I actually need 6 times 4, or 24 for that example. Okay, so 114 should be G. And we did it! Yay! All right. All right, so like I said, I'm most likely going to do the grade 9 next, because a bunch of you guys asked it, and your test is coming up on Saturday and Sunday, and it'll be worth getting those in. I might even still do that later today. My whole day got turned upside down for 2 reasons. I'm not going to get into them. And I don't know if I'm free on Friday yet. We'll have to play that out to see how it's going. All right. Anybody have any other questions? Again, I'm Greg from GregsTutoringNYC.com. You can email me at GregsTutoringNYC@gmail.com. All right. Hopefully you're all doing all right. And don't forget to hit me up for tutoring. Ask me any questions about the SHSAT at all, whatever the case may be. Please subscribe. I'm always putting tons of info out here. Maybe not in a good timeline, but it's there. And like I said, I have hundreds of other videos. There's a lot of work here. So click like button. Give me some encouragement, right? Please like and subscribe. Put things in the comments. Share the video. Live a happy life. Peace, y'all.